Doing well. Thanks for jumping on the potty. Appreciate it.
I appreciate you, brother.
Whereabouts are you based?
Currently based in West Eastern Sydney, so Randwick.
Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Well, welcome to NRL Deep Dive. This is kind of like a one-stop shop for all things West Tigers. And so when you followed me on Instagram, I had to follow back. You've been putting out some sweet like NRL article type stuff, some breaking news things like that. So maybe you just want to tell the audience a little bit about who you are, kind of what you do, and then what team you support, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so I started the page about a couple months ago now, and as you said, like it's more of a place for discussion and debate. Like I'm all into that, the history and the nostalgia, the stories, and yeah, I write a few articles here and there, not so much about what's going on, but the stories behind them. And so I put that Finu brothers one out the other day about the history of the three tries and stuff. So it's more about that nostalgia element, the essence, the culture of the sport, rather than reporting on the day to day types.
That's awesome, mate. And what team do you support like on a day to day?
I'm actually a Warriors supporter, believe it or not.
Wow.
Yeah, I know. All timing for this one, but yeah. So my parents from New Zealand, so big New Zealand household. So yeah, All Black supporter as well. Obviously New Zealand Kiwi supporter, but yeah, the Wars have been my team since I can remember.
Dude, and I mean that's so sick because you guys put up such a good match against us the other week, this past weekend. That you was it's a really really solid game. Our boys came out and fought, but at the end of the day, you guys outfought us, outplayed us, and so that is huge huge props to you guys. Just for the big team that you have and for the solidity that you have in your team. Just out of curiosity, what do you think is your biggest weakness within the Wars this year?
Aside from the obvious injuries, um, I just think, yeah, obviously we haven't really performed overly well against those top four sides. I think we've been, beaten by the Broncos recently. I think we haven't been a top four side this year. So being able to match it come September, October with those top four sides, I think obviously with the injuries, we've done pretty well with those next man up type attitude. I think Tanner Boyd had a really strong game on the weekend. I think, he's been obviously killing it in reserve grade. But him stepping up into that seven row, I think, gave us a different dynamic. I love Luke Metcalf, and when he went down, I was in tears. But I think Tanner Boyd stepping up really showed. Obviously, he's a different type of seven, and his ability just to kick long, control the game, that old school type game management is something that we probably haven't had for a while. So it's obviously a different dynamic. I don't know if it's a better dynamic, but yeah, definitely a different dynamic. So I think Tanner Boyd stepping up is obviously going to be a strength as well for us.
Absolutely, man. And yeah, from an outside perspective, I've definitely seen some of those as well. Some of those things that you touched on. Now, really, really curious from a Warriors fan, but also just from a rugby league fan, what has kind of been your point of view about the West Tigers this year? Can be good, can be bad, can be mixed. As we started, I think, started off pretty bloody good. Then obviously the Galvin saga, and now we're here, we're where we're at now. And so things have been crazy, but I'm really, really intrigued and kind of yeah, I want to hear what you have to say as a Warriors supporter, but too just as someone who covers all of the rugby league on Instagram.
Yeah, I think it's easy for me as a neutral not to be a West Tigers, fan in the sense that I'm not the one that's living and dying the week to week for you as you guys are. But I think from a neutral perspective, I'm so impressed with the West Tigers this year. Although I guess the results may not indicate, and the ladder position may not indicate. The heart, the fight, just the overall improvement that the Tigers have this year is so much more than what they have the previous, in two, three, four, how many years. I think, and again, I'm not the one that's, riding those losses every weekend, but I just think from a neutral perspective, you got to be happy with what you're seeing in a sense of the overall footy improvement. I think besides, in one or two games it's been what, 2, 4, 6, 8 points where you're losing by. So it's not like you're out of the game at
Hmm.
any stretch of the imagination. You're in 95% of the game. So I think that in itself has to be, a silver lining with the season. And I think I saw a stat somewhere that you've already equaled the amount of wins from last year, and there's still 7, 8 rounds to go, or whatever it is. So I think, again, I'm not a Tiger supporter, so I'm not riding those losses every weekend. But from a neutral perspective, you have to be happy with the improvement for sure.
Absolutely. And that's something I try to, really hammer into our audience on NRL Deep Dive is like, yeah, we're having these losses, but when you look back, I mean, since '05, really, like this whole rebuild phase stage, whatever you want to call it, like we have grown so much, especially this season compared to last. We had a data analysis on the show last week, and he broke it down. He made graphs and everything, and literally showed us like, hey, we are on the upward trajectory of becoming one of the best teams in the comp. Now, there's a lot of talk around Jerome Lui kind of possibly leaving here soon. Toa. What are your thoughts on all of that? Do you think we should extend Appy? Do you think we should get rid of him? What are some of your thoughts around some of our stars, some of our players? Just really intrigued to hear from the outside perspective again, what you would do if you were in Benji and Richo's position.
Yeah, the Luai one's a little bit tricky. Obviously, as a and again as a neutral, it doesn't hit as hard. But I think as a Tigers fan, you'd want to know what he's doing, and I think he's indicated that I guess he wants to stay. Obviously, there's background information that we aren't privy to why there's clauses in those contracts. But I think for him, I think having Latu in the starting lineup at 7 really opens him up as well. And I can see just from watching Tigers games the confidence that he plays when Latu's in that 7 role. So I think that's probably a big indicator as well. Obviously, I think he has a lot of respect and a lot of time and belief in Benji. So I think that would definitely play a part in whether he stays or leaves. Appy Coruscant one is obviously, I think for me, a no-brainer. Like it's unfortunate that you now lost talent as well because of it, but I think I mean, Appy Coruscant is one of the premier nines in the competition, and like he's not that old. Like he's getting on, but he's not that old
Right,
to
right.
where you're at that point of probably moving him on. So I think keeping Appy was very important. I think as well, he probably has a lot of respect around that group as well, and a lot of leadership qualities that you probably don't see on the footy field that probably come into the decision as well. Stafford Toa, mate, isn't he one of the best centers in the competition? Like he
Hmm.
needs to be locked down for what I mean, as long as they can get him for because I just think his attacking prowess on that edge is really really crazy. I think I don't know. I heard a lot of the boys talking about this on other podcasts as well, but like Adam Doueihi,
Mm.
where he's again such a great player, but where does he fit in that team? Like, is he started at fullback in the early career, moved into the six, into the halves, playing in the center at the moment. I just don't know where he fits in that team, but he needs to fit there somewhere.
Definitely. Now, yeah, actually going off Adam Dewey, he just got named a ball playing lock this coming week against the Titans. And I think that's something I've been saying on my channel for a while is like if Dewey is going to stay with this team, we've got a fullback, we've got great halves, we've just got Taylan May, great centers. He would have to move into our forward pack. That would be his next kind of natural progression, right? And so when you think of Adam Dewey playing a ball playing lock, which we saw against the Warriors actually for a bit there, what are your thoughts? Are you for it? Are you against it? Do you think it's his way of staying in the club, or do you think this is kind of the last straw, that he has that he's got to make work? Otherwise, he's done and out. Plus, you add in Isaac Moses, right, as his manager. Like, that's not going to be helpful whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I think his best position probably is six. But obviously with Jerome in the squad and the team, he's probably not getting that six jersey. So I think second best option probably is that ball playing lock. And the way the game's going these days, and you look at Dylan Walker when he comes on the field for Para, and obviously when he was at the Warriors, he just adds so much versatility around that ruck. So I think Adam Doueihi definitely could add that. And I think the last few games when you guys have been chasing points and he's been moved into the middle, that attack, and has a little bit more flair and a little bit more go forward with it. So I think, what I mean, if that attacking 13 position is where he's going to fit, I can't see it being a detriment to the side.
Absolutely. And yeah, you said it right. Like when he comes into the middle, things have that flair and kind of just something different happens, right? There's this new energy through the middle. And that's something I think we've lacked as a team this year. I think we started well with Jerome May, Fonua Pole, like those guys running hard, even the Faiinu brothers. But then it kind of dipped off. And like we even saw against the Warriors, which I knew going up against you guys was going to be extremely difficult. You got some big bodied men that know how to run, know how to tackle. And I said we've got to be playing our outside edges, but we still tried to play through the middle and it wasn't working. And so to me, that's kind of a little concerning about, all right, where's our depth when it comes to the middle pack? How are we going to actually like size up against people like the Warriors, guys like that. And we have the signing Kai Pierce-Paul. What are your thoughts on the Tigers signing him? Did you see that come in? Is that something you think was the right choice or the wrong choice? Kind of tell me your thoughts on that whole situation.
Yeah, I definitely didn't see that one coming, but I think, I mean, it's hard to argue that it's a poor signing. Yeah, I think Kai Pearce-Paul has a tremendous ceiling, and he's definitely shown his ability to break games, and you know what I mean, out on that edge. So I think it's only ever going to add to the recruitment, and I think the Tigers haven't recruited poorly. I think with Benji having him as the coach adds to the ability, and everybody he says this, his ability to recruit players. So I think the recruitment for the Tigers coming into this year was, you know what I mean, if you want to give it a grading scale, it's up there with the A's. Like the signings that they've brought into the club have been, you know what I mean, tremendous. So I think give it a bit of time for them to gel. And I think Kai Pearce is only going to add to those those signings that the Tigers have made. So I think that's definitely a big positive. What side he plays up in the air, I guess, but I think it's definitely only going to add to the strength of the Tigers for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So well said, man. And I kind of wanted to ask you about the whole Buller situation. So we've had Buller out here for a couple of weeks, obviously to his injury. He's suspected to be out for a fair few more weeks. Taruva's been stepping in at fullback. I'm not sure if you've seen much with him. Obviously against the Warriors, you would have seen some, but I've been super impressed with Taruva, man. And now I love Jerome Lui to bits. I love the bloke on our team. But if Taruva keeps going at this trajectory, could we see Buller maybe moving in to something else, moving out? What would you do if you were Benji and you've seen this performance from Taruva, you've seen this performance from Jarrell Skelton, from Charlie Staines, and if things are just clicking, what do you do?
Mm. Yeah, again, that's why they get paid the big bucks, isn't it? I think I don't know. Like I think, Taruva's been impressive, and Taruva is impressive. Like you know what I mean, coming from the Penrith system, it's hard to not be impressive, and it's hard to not have those what I mean standards to just know how to win and know how to be able to perform in games. And I think Penrith really started that next man up thing in terms of how many players they lost over the years, and the next person stepped into the line. So whether it was somebody out for Origin or somebody out was injured, they just step again from the wing to the fullback. So I think Taruva's done it without missing a step, and I think yeah, it was whether I wouldn't have a clue, mate, if I'm completely honest. But I think does Benji want to rock the boat? Does he want to keep things as it's going? But again, you can't really deny again the form that the Tigers have been in. The results aren't there, but I think I mean, Jarrell Skelton coming out of yardage and just his ability on the wing to be damaging is I mean, very beneficial for the
Mhm.
Tigers. Charlie Staines obviously has that, quick speed and ability to finish. So I don't know. Do you want to rock the boat? Do you not want to rock the boat? I guess that's the question. I
Yeah,
think it's hard.
man. Yeah, you're
Sorry, I
saying.
think it's hard for Buller as well. Like he hasn't, I mean, we know how high his ceiling is. So I guess, it's a difficult question, difficult decision to make. I think for me personally, I don't know, sometimes I can be a little bit risk adverse. So I think I probably would put Buller back in the one and Taruva back on the wing, which probably would see Staines drop back again. But again, Benji's probably shown that he's, what I mean, a little bit more willing to take risks. So you never know. You might be able to see Jereme out on the wing, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Definitely, man. I'm pretty sure he's managed by Isaac Moses as well. So obviously, there's a whole lot of rumor around that. But I want to know some things, and some areas of improvement for the West Tigers. Like I try to keep things super positive, but at the same time, I want to be realistic about our team. And part of that is I haven't been super sold on Jerome Luai's performance these past few weeks. Obviously coming off of injury, sickness. Origin, things like that. I understand that, but as I look at the overall picture, I haven't seen the $1.3 million mark on that guy in our club just yet. So that's one of the things that we've been talking about on my channel is that definitely about Appy, and over his performances over the last couple weeks as well. Then there's obviously talk about Adam Doueihi. But what are some areas of improvement or areas of weakness that we have as a club that you think we could do better at, or things need to be, kind of trimmed back? Let me know kind of your thoughts. Be totally brutal, totally honest if you have to. Like, we totally get that.
No, I think it's consistency, obviously, first and foremost. Like we talk about Jarrell Skelton, like we know how high that bloke's ceiling is, but again, there are times when he, what I mean, silly penalties or silly errors, and just you know what I mean, that creep into his game. So he can be somewhat, I wouldn't say rocks or diamonds, but it can be, you know what I mean, some games he has really good couple of weeks, then a couple of bad games. So I think, but that's overall consistency in the team. You touched on it as well, I think, in terms of just finding the combinations. Where does everybody fit in that team and getting, you know, in games and reps underneath in those positions. So if Latu's going to be the 7 moving forward, then, you know what I mean, which I think he should be, leave him in there. If Jerome's going to be the 6, all right, we're going to build a team around Jerome or whatever it may be. If Dewey's going to be the 13, then Dewey's going to be the 13. So I think finding the finding where all the puzzle pieces fit and working at a game plan that fits around that, and that obviously will then hopefully build a little bit more consistency in the performances. I think as well, as I said, uh, discipline against the Warriors. There's a little bit of ill discipline towards, I guess, the back end and I guess the middle of the second half sort of thing, which sort of led to us putting on a little bit more points than what the actually game, I guess, reflected. I think for the Warriors' perspective, we sort of played a game that was a little bit more, or not like the Warriors. We sort of were controlled for the whole game. A lot of it, I felt in control a lot of the game, even if the score at one point maybe didn't reflect that. I think as a Warriors fan, we're sort of used to being able to, or used to watching the whole 80 minutes thinking, oh, when's this going to happen? When are we going to lose this one? You know what I mean? That sort of stuff. And I think that game specifically, I just felt in control the entire game. And that obviously came down to a few mistakes and some ill discipline from the Tigers. So I think once you guys clean that up, minimize errors, minimize penalties, and just get the reps in the positions that you want. Because again, you're speaking about Dewey coming in at in 40, 50, 60-minute mark, coming into the middle after being out in the centers. It's like, has he trained there during the week?
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that would be just from my perspective, my uninformed perspective. I think looking at just a consistency around positioning where the puzzle pieces fit. And maybe that's what Benji's doing for next year in terms of, looking at where everybody's going to fit and how he's going to fit all these players into the 13 or the 17 each week to build that consistency.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, just you saying that consistency, making sure people in the right spots that they've been training in. I forgot which game was it, Raiders maybe. We had Heath Mason fullback. Then he ended up in I think the halves. Then he ended up in like a center at one point, and things were just crazy. Like we were just all over the place. So definitely consistency, I can agree with on that. Like we definitely haven't had too much of that. One between the media drama and all that stuff that came with that, but two just on a week to week basis. Now I love Benji. There's a lot of speculation around whether or not he should be coach going forward. I think he absolutely should. I think him and Richo together are doing great things. It's going to take time. What are your thoughts on Benji? What are your thoughts on Richo? Is they someone we keep around? And do you think the media has just blown this way out of proportion, like I think they have?
Yeah, no, again, I'm going to be a little bit biased here in terms of, late 90s, early 2000 kid. Benji to me is, yeah, I love Benji. Benji was the man growing up. And I think, if you look at it, take a step back and look at it, he was part of a 5-year plan that turned into a 1-year plan, essentially. Like he's never coached at the top level before this. He was meant to do an apprenticeship under Tim Sheens. They got rid of Tim Sheens after, in 12 months, whatever, and put him into the top job straight away. So I think he's going to take his time to develop into in a first grade coach. But I think the signs are there. Like he's got the team wanting to play for him. The results, again, as you said, it might not be as high as you want, but the fight there, the competitiveness is there. So I think give Benji some time, and I think you will start to see the results. And a bit of patience. I know it's hard when you're a few wooden spoons on the trot and the results aren't there to be patient. But I think a bit of patience around Benji is definitely what you need. I think at the moment, at bare minimum, the recruitment that he brings is, at least a big tick, whether the performances are there or not. You're going to get the players that you want or he wants that are going to help boost the club. So that's, at least as a foundation, that's a great place to start. I think, and as the years go on, I guess, well, how many years did Serraldo do as as an assistant coach before he got the Bulldogs job?
Yeah, fair few.
Yes, you know what I mean. So I think, and even Andrew Webster at the Warriors, he did plenty of years as an assistant coach. Benji got the single year. So I just believe that he needs to have time. I
Mhm.
think he needs to be able to develop as a coach. He may need some more assistant coaches underneath him again, I know Hodgson is there, and I love Brett Hodgson as well. I'm not too again, I don't know a lot about his coaching credentials, and I'm sure he's a great coach. But I think, if you're worried about, the coaching of Benji, maybe you give him a little bit more support underneath
Mm.
him. But I just think to 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 I guess cast out a club legend once again would just be another, I guess, and kick in the teeth to a lot of Tigers fans as well. Specifically when, again,
Yeah.
as you said, you can see, and you're trying to harp on the improvements that you can see over the course of this last, 6, 7, 8 months. It'd be a big kick in the teeth just to give him the punt again, I reckon.
Absolutely. I mean, you nailed that on the head. Like, the Tigers have definitely, I hate this, but I hate to say it, but we've definitely been known to let good players and good legends go, and that sucks. It really does suck. So the fact that Richo came out and said, "Hey, regardless of the outcome this year, even if we get the spoon, touch wood that we don't, we will keep Benji around," and that's something that I think puts a lot of stability and support and trust into a club and to the players, knowing that like, hey, our head coach has a plan. He's not just going to up and leave here next year, and that's something that I think is going to pay off really, really well. I genuinely believe, and I want to ask you, do you think we'll get a premiership here in the next 5 years based on the trajectory, the players we have now, the players coming up through our pathway systems? Do you think a premiership's in sight?
5 years, I don't know. I don't know about 5 years, but
No.
I don't know if anybody, I don't know if I could say any club could get a premiership in 5 years unless Penrith or Melbourne. It'd even be hard to say for the rest of the Warriors will get a premiership in 5 years. But I think, I definitely think finals footy is on the
Mm,
horizon for the next 5 years. I can probably say that for certain. If, the club keeps going in the trajectory that it is, I think, a top eight finish is not something that would be out of this world. If the club can continue on the trajectory that they're going, because, and as we said, the losses aren't 20, 30 points.
mm,
Are, in those 4, 6, 8 point losses where you've been in the game for majority of it, but as we spoke about, in discipline errors, whatever it may be, has just cost the win. So I think once you fix those up and get the continuity in the team, there's definitely no reason why you can't make the top eight in the next 2, 3 years for sure. Premierships though, that's a hard one.
mm.
I think, but I'd love to see it honestly for as a neutral. I think the Tigers fans have gone through so much, whether it just be on the field performances, I guess you alluded to boardroom drama, um, the list goes on in terms of, things that Tigers fans have had to endure over the last, 10, 15 years. So I think, it'd be great to see them back up the top again. And I think, if Latu can be the seven and take them back to that promised land, he'll go into
Mhm.
a stratosphere of that Benji Marshall-esque like fandom within the West Tigers.
Yeah, dude, I love the Benji Marshall S. Like, I see a mini Benji in Latu, man. Like, his steps, his passes, just his overall personality, man. Like, when I watch him, I'm like, yeah, this kid is Benji in the making. I'm so, so excited. One last thing before we wrap it up. You mentioned that, like, our losses haven't been, like, the traditional 20, 30, 40 point losses, other than the Melbourne Storm game, but we won't talk about that. A big part of, just those small margin is our goal kicking, right? There's been a lot of instances this season that Adam Doueihi just hasn't hit the mark or literally got between the posts for us to get us those points. I mean, this past game against Warriors, what he missed 2 or 3 conversions that could have put us up there pretty decently. What are your thoughts on Appy becoming our kicker full time? Do you think there's anyone else in the club that you've seen or heard? Do you think we should sign, another a depth player that can fill in the halves, could fill in somewhere else, that could provide a little more kicking power and accuracy that would help us kind of close in that gap of those, 6, 7, 8 points that we're normally losing by?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Dewey's generally a pretty good kicker. He's pretty high percentage rate. I think maybe having like I think a lot of kickers are having a bit of an off year this year.
Mm.
Obviously, highlighted through the Origin period, especially for us Blues. Like I think goal kicking has sort of been a bit of a hot topic this year. I haven't seen Appy kick enough. I've seen him obviously kick a little bit, but I don't think there's a big enough sample size to sort of maybe give Dewey the boot from that. I don't know, man. I think as I said, like as a Warriors fan, there was that one game where Metcalf missed like 4 conversions and then slotted a penalty goal from halfway. And I was just like, what's going on here? So I
Yeah.
think goal kicking's been a bit of a hot topic because it is like you just look at the game two for Origin. the Blues lost the game because we missed the goals. But yeah, I don't know if I would. Again, as I said, I'm a little bit risk adverse. I don't know if I'd give Dewey the boot straight away with his goal kicking, but it can be, as a fan, it is so frustrating when you score more tries or as many tries, but you still lose the game because of the goal kicking. Like as I said with that Warriors game, when Metcalf was like, "Well, I'll take the 2 points," I was like, "Oh, okay." About this decision, but then he just stepped up and slotted it like he does. But yeah, I think I would continue with Dewey just because I think historically he has been made a pretty high percentage kicker. And again, I don't have a big enough sample size of Appy to make a judgment. But again, as I said, it is frustrating as a fan when and you're losing by two or four and you miss
Mm.
two conversions and you're just like it's that funny part of the game where it's like you can have an extra 2 points if you can.
Definitely, man. Yeah, it is one of the most frustrating things, especially when it's that close of a game too, in some of those instances. But yeah, thanks for jumping on, man. I was really refreshing to hear an outside perspective. I've been doing Fan Fridays for a couple months now, and they're mainly West Tigers fans because that's obviously who my channel is catered for. But it was really, really like nice to have a Warriors fan that can just give some honest feedback about our team, where we're at, and kind of where you guys are at as well. Because to us, playing against you guys look like absolutely flawless. There was definitely some errors here and there, but then to hear you say it was a very different game than normal. It was more of a control game. That was kind of, oh, okay, sweet. I didn't know that, like, because I'm so focused on the West Tigers, I didn't hear, didn't take note of what you guys are doing and things like that on a week to week basis. It's super encouraging to hear that. How can people find you on social media? I know you've been running that page. What is that page called? And then yeah, kind of what is the mission of the page and what are you trying to promote there?
Yeah, so it's just at Rugby League Law, LORE, on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. And as I said at the beginning, it's just a page I sort of started a few months ago after like having these discussions and debates you have with your mates and your brothers and around topics in footy. And I thought I want to bring this to a wider audience and see what the wider NRL community has to say on these things. So we look at history, nostalgia. We look at stories, just the essence of rugby league in the NRL, having those, I guess, debates in a constructive sort of way about, we posted a thing yesterday about Galvin being moved to the seven and Sexton dropping out and talking to a few Doggies fans about, the, I guess, comparisons to the Dylan Brown situation in terms of the Doggies now, decided they're going to move to the future with Galvin. Obviously, he's the long-term plan. But yeah, so it's just based around those discussions you have with your mates at the pub or at your place and getting perspective from more than just your close circle of friends and family.
Love it, mate. All right. And if you want to leave us with a hot topic, a hot debate, what is that going to be based on the West Tigers?
Yeah, my one, as I said earlier, would be Dewey. Where does he fit in? Where does he fit into that 13? Is he a center? Is he a six? Is he a fullback? Is he going to play that, ball playing lock position? Because again, that's what I want to know. I have no idea. So I want to know where I guess West Tigers fans want to see him play for sure.
All right, Tigers fans, you heard it. Let us know in the comments. We'll be dissecting that over this next couple of weeks because that is $1 million question right now that I want to know. But Liam, thanks for jumping on, mate. Take it easy, and yeah, make sure everyone go over to Instagram, Threads, TikTok, follow Rugby League Law. I love the stuff that he's been putting out, and it's super, super cool to see it all right there on your feed. Make sure you check it out, like, follow, do all the things. You know what to do. All right, Liam, you take it easy, mate.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
All right, see ya. You too.